We have Brew, the fan clubs of Germany, Poland and Spain.
And even Brazil.
We have a fan club in
and
Brazil.
even Brazil. I've put together some questions from the fans, you guys.
Which one of us can read?
Not me.
No.
Jace can't read.
I haven't got the glasses, so it looks like you're doing it, Kit.
Right, so Luis Henrik from Brazil has asked...
I think that's Louis.
Louis?
Yeah.
Louis?
Don't think she'll call him
Yeah,
Louis.
but you get David Luiz.
So,
Louis.
Right then. Okay.
Louis? Alright, would you guys consider a South American tour?
Yes.
Come melt some faces in Brazil.
Yes.
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 Please arrange that for us.
Yeah.
Peter Coates, can you
Is
combine
he from
your...
Brazil?
He's not from Brazil. I'm
Okay.
assuming he's not from Brazil.
Okay.
Can you combine your rock and roll lifestyle with a relationship?
I have many relationships. Am I allowed to say that?
No, no.
Okay, no. Yes.
It's difficult, but we get by.
Well, families have grown up with it, haven't they? So it's pretty easy, really. Now
Yeah,
they all know what to expect. So
Yeah,
it's how they met us, and it's how it is. So yeah.
Theo Hubbers?
He's from Holland, isn't he?
He is
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Holland. I know this guy.
You know, Theo?
Respect for this great action. My question is simple. Are there already plans to start recording a new album?
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, right after this video question and answers, we're going to start writing new material. How about
We are. And the idea is we have it released at the end of next year. Towards the end
What's
of
the
next
idea?
year. So. Does the Brew have plans to film a live DVD?
No.
No. Not yet.
There are talks about doing a DVD of a different sort of style other than just a live concert, but that's still in discussion. So
Yeah.
watch this space, Theo.
Matt Tomaska, what is the direction you guys see yourselves going in the future? Was Trouble Free a sort of test to try something new?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was actually, yeah. We hadn't released a song for a while, and you know, we sat down and came up with that. It wasn't exactly the direction that we stuck with, but yeah. And a question to Tim.
Oh,
Does it sometimes get awkward being in a band with your son?
never been asked that before.
I don't know, is it awkward?
I don't know. When I find out which band member is my son, I'll let you know.
And a Strat question. Oh, your favourite kind of
The
question.
best questions.
Jason, what's in your pedal board? And which Les Paul is your favourite?
No, the question should be, which one of your pedals is currently working, Jim?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's more like it.
What is in your pedal?
Simple, yeah, simple. Drive, boost.
What's
wah,
in your pedal board that
delay.
isn't in U2's pedal board, Jim?
That's a good question. That's it.
Which Les Paul is your favourite?
I didn't even answer the pedal board question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
mate.
so you've got more in your pedal board.
There's more
Unbelievable.
interesting
Cables.
stuff about what's in his pedal board. Go on then.
Drive,
Drive.
phaser,
Phaser.
reverb, tremolo,
Tremolo. Wow.
and more drive.
And more drive. You can't get enough of drive.
And a tuner, of course.
Oh, you've got a tuner.
Well, when it
Why don't you try bloody using it then?
Which Les Paul is your favourite?
Les Paul traditional,
The traditional.
sunburst.
Are you slowly giving up on using a Strat?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, what? Was that your
These
question,
keep trying to stop me from using it.
That was a question
It's
from Kurt.
actually my
James,
job.
not-
Yeah,
not from Thomas.
And what's the story behind that awesome Strat you play? How did you get it? What are the initials about?
Got it off a guy who didn't know what he had. It was in a fire, so he thought it was just a burnt out piece of rubbish and sold me it very cheap. More for him. And
30 years later.
yeah,
He was right.
and now it's working again. The initials, the letters is my name. The initials, Jason Miles Barwick. So yeah, it's just JMB at the top. But the stickers actually came from my mother's card making set. From a craft room. Yeah, and they're still there now.
Nice,
and I put them on.
creative.
But yeah, exactly, mate. I put them on when I was like 13, 12, 13, and they're still there. So that was a good card making set.
Joanna's. As another Strat question. God, the Strat's more popular than the band.
Is there any bass questions?
Jason, I would like to know more about your Strat.
It's awesome!
So what kind of model is it? What year, pickups, and what's the story behind it? Well, we kind of answered a bit of that.
Yeah, Yeah, I've answered obviously the conditions from a fire. It's just been toured heavily. There's no relic involved whatsoever. It's just use. It's a 62 Strat. Everything's pretty much original. The pickups have been changed. I've got some Kent Armstrongs. Basically like Texas Specials. What kind of model? Oh, it's a Japanese.
She also asks, what kind of Marshall head do you play?
It's a he.
Is it a he, is it?
Yes.
Joanna's right, okay. He also asks, what kind of Marshall head do you play?
A Marshall Super Lead 100.
Nice. Yeah, it's plexi one.
It's an old plexi, yeah.
I was in the impression it was a 75.
Yeah. How do you work with your clean overdrive and distortion tone? I doubt that you crank the stack for distortion. If so, wow.
Yes, I do.
Box of rock for crunch distortion and the T over my head. The big white pedal on the right side of your
Yeah, actually, this guy's actually nailed it. Yes.
He knows more than I do.
You know more about my sound than I know, mate. Basically like that. That's how I use the amp. I crank it, get a natural drive. The box of rock is for a bit more distortion and a boost, and the T over is just to let it go over the edge a bit more. Basically, just more.
Takes it to 11.
Takes it to 11.
Nice. Another question for the whole band. Guys, do you have a major aim for the future concerning venues, like Bonamassa's Royal Albert Hall dream? I guess your biggest gig so far was Woodstock, which by the way was absolutely fantastic. Cheers, mate. Or do you prefer playing smaller clubs? P.S. Hope to see you again at Woodstock one day and hopefully with a full show. We'd love to go back to Woodstock.
Yeah.
It was one of the best shows we've done.
Highlight of the career, really.
Yeah,
in terms of venue and crowd capacity, it was just, wow, you can't top it, can you?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Big shows and little shows. I like them all.
Yeah, everything's got its own
appeal.
Its own appeal, yeah.
Some intimate shows can be just as adrenaline filled as, for example, something like Woodstock. I mean, speaking personally, I don't have a venue I have on my tick list to play. As a band, it'd be great to do an arena tour, but no, I mean, I don't have a dream of playing the Royal Albert Hall, for example. Personally, I don't know about the other guys.
Well, I think I do. I mean, for me, you know, growing up, one of the best concerts I saw was on DVD was Led Zeppelin at the Royal Albert Hall. So since then, it has been a dream to sell out the Royal Albert Hall.
One of the best albums of all time, from the best band of all time, is The Who live at Leeds, and we've actually played there at the venue they played at.
Yeah, Leeds University.
So there you go.
This is true, yeah. Alberto from Spain asks, for years I hope that you are doing a tour of our beautiful country in November. Are you coming back in February? Yeah.
For years we've always played in November. Like I know where he's from. He's from Lleida.
Lleida, right.
Are you from Lleida, Alberto?
We will be coming back next year when we
year.
release the new album.
Yeah, we were talking about coming back in February, but we don't know if it's going to happen yet. So keep checking out.
It will be in November.
Probably. Daniel Soriano Calderon from Spain. He's a guy who's you shared some of his cover versions. He wants to say thanks for that.
Awesome.
Is that the guy who does it all in the studio and everything?
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome
Wow.
stuff. Really
Fantastic.
Great jumps,
Brilliant.
by the way.
He asks, in what cities were recorded the songs of the Live in Europe album? I got the vinyl edition and not includes information about it. I suspect every gig as a neighbour and the drum solo were recorded in Terrassa, Barcelona. It would be great to tell my friends that we appear in a live album.
It was a combination of all, wasn't it? Denmark, Germany,
Spain.
I think somewhere taken from Spain.
Yeah.
But it's hard to remember the.
Terrassa. We recorded quite a lot in Terrassa, didn't we?
It was
where Danielle was.
Daniel.
Daniel.
Daniel. Brilliant. Sorry, Daniel. Yeah, it was recorded. I mean, each song I think is from a different place, and it's been that long that I can't remember where they all were. Tim, what inspired you to write the lyrics for Six Dead?
We was riding in the van, in the bus, in Spain, I think, was it? And the news came over the radio about a shooting in America, yet another shooting in America, where some gunman had gone in and shot the senator and and several other people, and basically 6 people had died. And I just turned around and said, yeah, bloody 6 dead in the blink of an eye. And I just thought, you know, that's a great name for a song. And off it went, literally from that moment. Lyrics inspired from being on the road, really, and the circumstances that you find yourself in.
As a band, you explore more musical genres and other kinds of sounds, or introduce acoustic segments into your shows?
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, we have been known to do the odd acoustic thing. I mean, we do a lot of acoustic stuff for radio and things, but we listen to a wide range of genres.
I mean, we're definitely constantly exploring different styles and genres, and as long as it fits in with, you know, where we see the brew going, we're quite happy to experiment and play around with it, and we're always doing that. Yeah, I mean, it's part of what the brew is all about, to be honest.
I love the feel of some epic tracks in A Million Dead Stars, like the title track, or Can. Have you thought about getting back into these kind of compositions? Well, I mean, we write what we feel inspired by at the time.
I've got to say, I think Rewind on the last album is quite a heartfelt, meaningful, epic, for want of a better word, song. I think every album has its moment like that. But we're always experimenting and trying new things, again, if that's a similar thing. I mean, yeah.
What's the most bizarre thing that happened on stage? Jace likes falling over a lot.
We've set fire to ourselves a few times.
Yeah.
Towels, backstage.
Towels, the stage. Yeah. We've set fire to the stage before.
Yeah, there's been 2 fires on the stage. One was because I put a towel on one of the lights and it set on fire during the song.
The other one was playing with lighter fuel.
We used to set fire to the guitar with lighter fuel.
It was a cymbal.
The cymbal. Sorry, yeah, it was a cymbal, and then I'd hit the cymbal and it'd all go up. Tim managed to mess it up one day and ended up basically set fire to the stage. At which point, the owner of the venue, a guy called Malk, who was in a band called Shawaddy Waddy back in the 60s, he runs on stage, puts it out with a fire extinguisher, kicks me off the drums and finishes the song with the rest of the guys.
And everybody thought we'd planned that?
Yeah, everybody thought it was.
And everybody said, are you going to keep doing that in your show? We have no plans to repeat that.
No. I'm a huge fan of Genesis, especially the early years with Peter Gabriel. What opinion...
I'm a Thotch fan.
A Thotch fan.
And you guys won't get that.
No.
He was the first person to use plasticine in music videos.
What opinion do you have of them as a band, and especially of the records Selling England by the Pound or Foxtrot? I think this band and somehow progressive rock are not sufficiently valued.
No, they're not these days. It was very much a period in the 70s where prog was just massive.
I've got to say that and Nursery Crime as well. I mean, those 3 albums were revered by music lovers in the 70s. I've never really got Genesis, being totally honest with you.
Same. I've never been a huge prog fan.
But I like prog, but the Genesis thing just never clicked with me. But you know, I mean, each to their own in music. That's what music. That's the beauty of music. It appeals to different people for different reasons.
And we've got some questions here, just general questions from the fan clubs. Jason, are you a collector of gear?
They don't mean like drugs.
You're a collector of gear. Like some of the questions in English, they can be read in the wrong way. Yeah.
What kind of gear?
Got any gear,
what kind of gear?
How many guitars do you own? How many amplifiers? On the first Control tour, you were using an Egnator amp. What was the idea behind that?
With a Marshall. Actually, not the first Control tour. It was the second Control tour.
Oh, the second Control tour.
Yes. I was using 2 amps. Just to basically separate, you know, just for good separation, good sound, 2 different sounds running in stereo. To be honest, no, I'm not a big collector of gear. I always see gear as tools, and you can only have so many tools and they need to be used rather than putting on a wall and staring at them.
There can only be so many tools in a band.
Yeah, and there's already 3 of them.
There's already 3 sat on this bench here.
Just have 2 Les Pauls and 2 Strats, and those guitars I just swear by, and I couldn't really see having any more. I have a few acoustics at home, but that's just to play around with at home. Amplifiers, I just have the Plexi, because that's just the one amp that I really like, and the other amps I had, but they also I like to use and try them out for my road crew. They bring them to try out on the tours, and The Ignator was our guitar tech, so I was using that, and I think it's a great amp.
On The Joker and A Million Dead Stars, one can hear the strong influence by Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix, Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, while the sound is harder on the third floor, such as the one of Wolfmother. With Control you formed your own unique sound, so which future developments do you expect for your sound and style?
Jazz.
Jazz fusion.
Skiffle.
Skiffle.
We're a metal band, so that's not going to work, is
Metal.
it?
We were very happy with the sound that we went with for Control.
Control was
like you
our
say, it was
unique
our
sound.
it was our own sound. For the other albums represented us at the time that they were recorded, but it was always trying to find a direction that we were happy with and what we wanted to go in, and we found that with Control.
We worked with a different producer as well.
Yeah,
which
producer
helped a lot. Different
changes.
studio.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of the future, we're going to start working on stuff right now, so it just depends how we feel at the time. We're going to expand on the sound that we came up with for Control and see where it takes us. Curtis, who is currently your favourite drummer and your source of inspiration? In your opinion, who is the best drummer of all time? Bonham was the drummer that got me into drums, basically. And as a rock drummer, I don't think he can be beaten. I mean, he basically defined rock drumming, and I learnt the drums by playing along to Zeppelin records and stuff. So he was a huge source of inspiration. In terms of the best drummer of all time, though, I mean, he would be probably the rock drummer, but I'd have to say Buddy Rich, just an absolutely incredible drummer. He could do anything, play anything. He was a showman, just absolutely amazing. Tim, you have always been playing a black jazz bass guitar.
Uh-huh.
You have. Why is this one your first choice, and have you ever thought about using a precision bass guitar live or in the studio?
No.
Good.
It's the only bass I've ever had, and it's always done me proud, and I just don't see any reason to change. I mean, even when we've been in the studio and we've tried other basses to get different sounds, we've always ended up going back to that bass, because it's the sound of the Brew. I mean, that bass is the sound of what we've got, and I don't really see any point in changing that right now. And it's a very versatile bass. I mean, having said all of that, the only addition to that is the introduction recently of the Big Muff bass driver, which I find to be incredible, because I've broken all the other ones I've used.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think I'm just going to cut that. We introduced a Big Muff. Done. Once you gave some unplugged concerts, and on each record there are usually 1 or 2 acoustic tracks. When do you plan your great unplugged tour through Europe?
You see.
We've spoken about this
Yeah, we have
so many
spoken about
times.
it.
I love playing acoustic.
I think we should do it sometime.
The problem we've had with it in the past is when we go on tour, we want to play the rock music. It's exciting, it's energetic, and that's what we
Are known for as well.
that's what we're known for, and that's what we get the most pleasure out of. We are slowly building a big acoustic back catalogue now, so maybe in the near future we might do that. David Jubinski asks, would you start a band earlier in the past or not? I'm asking because music was much better then than now, and you could do a career in a different way than now.
I think the point of that is really, the trouble is if we'd have started a band, for example, in the 70s, people have said, would you like to have started a band in the rock and roll era, because the rock and roll music was better than the music of that time. You could always relate that question to the moment that you're in. The point is you can't turn the clock back. We play the music that we're interested in and what's influenced us. So,
And back then, all that music, they were innovators. Those artists were innovators. We look back now and think it was the best time ever, but we, like you say, we would have probably been looking back and saying, yeah, I want to be in a Buddy Holly type band.
That's right, the Lonnie Donegan band, Skiffle band.
Skiffle.
Because
Jimmy Page.
They were massive influences on the blues artists of the UK. So I mean, it's a difficult question to answer, really, that, to be honest, because there's always history has always gone before you to the point you're at.
If we could
But
go
as
back,
far as being musicians though, back then it would be a lot easier to have a very, very successful career for your music.
Renee asks, do you play any other instruments than you do in your current band setup? You can play the triangle. Flute.
Jazz clarinet.
Jazz clarinet. Well, I can play a bit of guitar. Jace, you can play guitar a little bit.
Yeah, play bass.
Play bass.
Oh, can you now?
Everybody can play bass.
Oh, can you now?
You
You haven't got thunder fingers, mate. I tell you now.
Thunder
I mean,
fingers. Jace can do a basic drum beat.
Yeah, I used to play.
Well, maybe on the next tour we'll all swap instruments. Oh no,
Well,
me and
mine
Jace
can
will
play
swap
that.
instruments.
Well,
You can
mine
stick
can
with the bass. Nobody wants to play bass.
A triangle solo.
Don't.
How does your songwriting process work? Well, we
One of us comes up with an idea.
usually a riff
show
or
each
a
other,
melody or something.
and we sort of go on from there. Really,
Yeah, it's fair to say we start with the song first and the lyrics afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
I know
it's
a lot of
easier
bands
to.
well, for us it's easier. that way.
It's easier to write to music rather than just write down a poem and then think of what am I going to fit with that. And you get a feeling through the music of what the sort of the concept of the song will be.
What's your favourite thing to spend time on that has nothing to do with music? I play a lot of video games. What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Boating.
Boating. Jace?
I haven't had a hobby for years apart from drinking or driving cars.
The muscles on your right arm are a lot bigger now.
Yeah, bedroom activities. I don't know really. I like going out with the dogs for a walk. Yeah, and
James.
more drinking. It's the most un-rock and roll things known to man, really.
Thanks for all the questions you guys have sent in. A big thanks to the fan clubs, Marius, Martina, putting this together. It's great.
Well, it
Your
is
passion
great
means
because
everything to
without
us.
the fans, the brew doesn't exist. So
Exactly. So
we owe
it's-
it all to people like you.
It's
We
a
do
cliche, but it's true. Like, we would not be here if it isn't for you guys. So thank you very much, and we will see you next year.